Hello and welcome to Underpaid Gamers Podcast. My name is Justin. I'm here with my friend and colleague Tony.
Me!
Today we've got quite a plethora of things to talk about.
I'm ready!
So we're just going to jump right in.
Let's talk about video games.
What else?
I have energy.
You do. I don't know where this came from because you definitely were this energized like 5 seconds ago.
We just ate!
That's true.
It's all coming back. It's all coming back to me now. Video games.
Movies, news, things, Star
But before
Wars,
all that,
a theme song.
theme song. The Underpaid Gamers is the official podcast of Underpaid
Gamers.com.
Underpaidgamers.com. You can find us on SoundCloud and iTunes and Google Play Music and pretty much anything that has podcasts.
Stitcher and Podcast Edit and a bunch of other stuff.
If you like to have us playing in the background while you do homework, YouTube's great for that.
It
Find
is.
us on YouTube. If we're streaming, you can find us on Twitch.
That's true.
We're on Twitter at UPGamersPodcast. Email us at underpaidgamerspodcast@gmail.com for your inquiries or just your things.
Or suggestions or thoughts or criticisms.
Yes. If you have a topic you want us to discuss, email us or tweet us.
Yeah.
I don't check the email very often anymore. You should probably tweet at us.
It goes on my phone.
Oh.
So I see him.
Well, if you tweet at us, I will respond.
He will respond very quickly. So, we did a lot of things in the last week.
Last week, we recorded 2 episodes.
I know.
So if you saw one episode uploaded from us and you thought, man, I could really do with another one, there is another one.
There it is.
You get 2 for the price of 1 this week. That price being $0.
Yep.
As always.
As always.
You're welcome.
Thank you. That was the listeners saying thank you. Thank me.
Cool.
I just want to make that clear.
You're channeling the listeners today. I appreciate it.
That's true. I am.
So
I'm
we
the
have-
voice of the listeners.
So we've played games.
We
have
have.
accomplished some feats.
We have. We're going to talk about
separately.
them today.
We're going to talk about those.
Yep.
Probably after we talk about the news, eh?
Sounds about right.
I
So,
became Canadian.
where would you like to start with the news?
Finance.
Finance. This isn't a financing podcast. What is this about?
I must be mad.
I'm so intrigued. What could this be?
Mad Cats,
Oh my gosh.
the controller for your little brother, that company has filed for bankruptcy.
That's true. The only nice thing about Mad Cats is they always had a turbo button, and that was really nice.
I never understood what that did. I assume it just pressed
It
the button.
mashes the button really fast.
Yeah. So, Mad Cats are always the cheapo controllers that have been around for like 20 years.
Yeah, since like PlayStation 1 is the first Mad Cats controller I bought.
And it's never as good as the first party controllers.
It is not, but it's cheaper.
They're normally smaller by a significant margin.
Mm-hmm.
The one I had was very small.
Yep.
Like a baby controller. And it hardly ever worked.
Little baby controller.
But there you go. They were around for quite some time, not anymore.
They did.
Well,
filed for bankruptcy.
They're bankrupt.
So they're not necessarily
not dead
over,
yet.
but they're getting close.
They're getting close.
They had to use that Phoenix down with the bankruptcy, but you know that only brings up your HP to like 10%. So
Yeah. You could use Zing from Dragon Quest, which brings you up 50%, but there's a low success rate. Or you could use Kazing, which brings you all the way back with a little bit higher success rate, but it has a higher mana cost.
So, anyways,
My preferred RPG.
Dragon Quest spells aside,
Never.
Kazing!
Kazing! Get it?
Blizzard's got some cool news.
Blizzard has some awesome news.
I like this.
This I read as an article headline, and then I wrote it, and I don't have any more news about it, but we can speculate. I don't know where this is, but Blizzard, the video game company, is to open an e-stadium, which is a physical stadium dedicated solely to esports tournaments.
Crazy.
So much like
Crazy!
the Thunderdome,
The Thunderdome!
this is for video games.
Nice.
The E-Thunderdome, Thundradome, Thundragadome.
Thundagadrome?
This is the podcast episode of spells from RPGs.
RPG franchises. Yes. Blizzara opens East Stadium.
Kazap, to bring back Dragon Quest.
Yep.
Full circle. So what do you think about this?
I like this idea. I think this is cool. I
It's
know
probably in
already.
China or Korea.
Probably in Korea, I would guess. I mean,
They don't have a lot of space.
there are already like arenas that are used for esports for like the big tournaments.
Mandalay Bay is where the third day of EVO is for the last couple of years, which is the big arena in Las Vegas.
Yeah. So they already
If you
use
don't
like
know what
huge
Mandalay Bay
stadiums.
is, fix yourself.
You should Google it
It's where,
because
it's where they have all the boxing tournaments.
Yeah. So I think it's cool that they're having
Bouts.
a dedicated one. I'm sure
Boxing bout.
all the esports teams like it because they're probably building it to the specifications of what an esports team would need.
Ethernet port every 6 inches.
Every 6 inches, there's a direct line to the internet.
Yes.
Fiber, probably. So yeah, that's pretty cool.
Speaking of fiber.
Speaking of
I
fibers.
just finally moved.
Mm-hmm.
I am in my new place.
He is.
And I have literally 4 times the speed internet. Same
I'm
price
so jealous.
through fiber.
I'm so jealous.
It's pretty awesome.
It's stupid.
I tweeted it out. In my original
saw
place, I had 25 down. In my new place, I have 100 down.
That's stupid.
25 up. You know how fast I can upload videos?
Real fast.
Like that. Kazap, they're up.
Bazoom. That's not a spell.
Kaboom.
Kaboom. That's a spell.
That's a spell.
It is. I've used that one. Haste.
There you go.
That's the Final Fantasy one. There you go.
I can summon a video very
Can you?
quickly
Very, very nice.
to the internet.
You can summon it to the internet?
Yes.
You can cast it on the internet?
That's right. Speaking of casting,
Casting a web.
of lies.
What?
A web of lies.
A web of fly. I don't know where we're going with this.
There was some Spider-Man PS4 news that
was-
turned out to be not true.
Yep. Polygon. What are they doing?
It wasn't Polygon. It was someone that works in Disney or Marvel or Sony or something. Or not Insomniac. It was someone that works for the game way above Insomniac. It's like the vice president of games that doesn't really know anything
Yeah.
about the specific game development. He just oversees a whole bunch of things.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh yeah, Spider-Man PS4 is coming out in 2017. And then everybody reported on it. Polygon, all these other people.
Mm-hmm.
And then immediately Insomniac's like, that's not true.
Yeah. They tweeted at the Polygon's
Well,
tweet.
Polygon made an article about it, as
Yeah.
you would expect, as any
Right.
games journalist would,
Right.
because there's not a release date yet.
Right.
And it's not even confirmed to be 2017. I personally, as I've said before, and will say again, I do not think it'll be until 2018.
But I've seen some arguments for it with Insomniac games in the past being like announced 1 year and then the next year is when they actually drop or something. I don't know.
Maybe. They're supposed to give you more information at the December PSX, and it didn't happen in 2016.
No
I
new
didn't see
news.
anything about that. But Polygon made an article about, Vice President confirms that Spider-Man PS4 is coming out in 2017, and Insomniac's Twitter responded
Very
in a
quickly.
quote, no release time frame has been announced for this at this time.
And then a
Yes.
bunch of really funny replies after that
Yes.
from random people. It was fun to read through.
So, I don't know. That's a big slip of the tongue by this Vice President.
It is.
That'll ruin some things.
It could be. Let's just say that it could be a little bit bad for that guy
I'm
to
sure,
announce those things. I'm sure he got a talking to.
I'm sure he'll be fine.
Probably.
It's probably just one of
He's
those-
the vice president.
Yeah, it's probably just one of those things like, oh yeah, we have so many Marvel games coming up, and Spider-Man. I almost said Spider-Man v Batman.
That's not a thing.
Spider-Man
Who would win,
PS
though?
They're like, Spider-Man PS4 might come out this year. I said it wrong. What are you looking at?
I'm looking at the next news data.
Oh. Scorpio was announced, but we'll save that for the end of the news, because that might be a longer discussion. Justin,
Yes.
your favorite topic.
Star Wars.
Tell me more about Shannon Woodward from Westworld, as she joins the cast of The Last of Us 2.
That's not the Star Wars news.
Have you watched Westworld?
I've seen the first 5 episodes.
Do you remember who Elise is? She is the girl, IT tech girl. She's kind of quirky.
Don't remember.
The most significant scene I remember from her is that, like, she, in, like, the first and second episode, she's working on a host.
Okay.
And the hosts are so lifelike that she knows they're not real, but she's, like, trying to see if they can feel anything.
Yeah.
And she kisses one.
Oh.
And it's, like, the first episode, and the host obviously doesn't respond at all.
Yeah, I remember that now. Yeah.
That's Elise.
Okay.
She becomes somewhat of a major character in the show,
Okay.
but she has been signed on for The Last of Us 2 as an actress.
Interesting.
Turns out she's a super big nerd. So she was super happy about signing on.
That's awesome.
So there's some Last of Us news.
I like it.
Now,
Now.
for Star Wars.
Rumor! Rumor has it.
Rumor has it.
Han Solo news. The movie coming out 2 years from now.
Wow.
Rumor has it that Han Solo's name is actually not Han Solo.
What?
He earned the title Solo somehow. I don't know if it's true.
By always being a drifter?
Perhaps. Maybe he did the Castle Run solo or something. I don't know.
Was he in like an NSYNC group and he's a Justin Timberlake?
He
and
might
he went
be.
solo?
Perhaps that could be it.
I'm
not sure. The theory goes that based on the storyline of the old books, which they're going to generally follow, though they're not going to do specifics.
Legends.
He was an orphan who then rose to the ranks, or who joined a criminal crew, and then eventually gets his own ship, gets into smuggling.
Part of the ship, part of the crew.
Exactly. And does all that stuff, and he saves Chewbacca's life, gets the life debt, and then Chewbacca and Han Solo are together forever. Rumor has it that he has a last name that's not Solo, and that he adopts that title or earns that title somehow, and that's what he goes by later on. Now, the reaction to this rumor has been mostly negative. Most people that I've read, the comment section was a little nasty. It's like, why would you rename Han Solo?
I would assume so.
Yeah, because he's been the character for over 30 years, longer than some people have been alive who are listening to this podcast. Yeah, 79 was A New Hope.
It's almost 2019.
I know.
Quick, do the math.
I can't do it. I'm a history teacher. I can't.
History teachers should know how long ago history was.
Okay, 79, 89, 99, 2009. It'd be 38 years, approximately.
So he's had this name for 38 years.
Yeah.
And they're going to change it?
And it's possible.
What are your thoughts?
It's possible.
What do you think about his name change?
The article that I read also said they think they've been hiding the name in plain sight. Meaning his name is Han Ren, which I think is the stupidest thing I've ever heard of in my life.
Why do you think that means that?
Well, I don't think that means that. The article thought it meant that. And I disagree.
What's their argument to say that
their
they think
argument
it's Han Ren?
Was that Kylo went by Ren, and Ren actually, Han Solo's family, had a bunch of negative things going on, which is why he was an orphan in the first place. And so his family was dark and evil, and so that's why Ben Solo is actually Kylo Ren, because he adopts his old father's family name.
His real name is Ben Ren.
I know.
That's a stupid name.
Han Ren and Ben Ren. Are you kidding me? That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard of. So I disagree with the article, but it's an interesting rumor to think that maybe Han Solo had a different name. Interesting as in terrible, because I don't want that to be a thing. But it was Star Wars news that I saw this week. I wanted to bring it up.
What do you think about his name changed? Just the fact that they might consider...
I don't even think they should consider changing his name. I think that's a stupid plot twist that should not exist. They should be giving us a great movie on the merits of who Han Solo is and his upbringing. There's plenty of stuff to work with. You don't need to change his name.
What's the best Han Solo story that you can think of off the top of your head right now?
The best Han Solo story would revolve around two things. Two things that we know.
Your favorite Han Solo story. And then just keep going where you're going, I guess.
Okay. It starts off...
Pardon my interruption.
On the planet of Corellia, which is Han Solo's home planet.
Ayo. His orphan home?
His orphan home. At least from the books that I read. The Han Solo trilogy, which is now...
What kind of planet is that?
It is a core world, famous for their shipbuilding capacities. They make the Corellian Corvette, also known as the Blockade Runner.
Heyo!
Also known as the first ship you see in Star Wars Episode 4.
Heyo!
Before you see the Star Destroyer, you see a Corellian Corvette.
Getting shot down.
Running away with all those engines. And
on a diplomatic
mission to Alderaan.
Except, obviously not true.
Not true,
based on Rogue One.
That's true. That's a really weak lie after Rogue One, really.
Yeah. They
you literally saw us.
People say that's why Darth Vader was so mad when he first got in there.
Yeah.
It's like, I just saw you.
It's not true.
That's not true.
I saw you 15 minutes ago drop out of the belly of that ship. Yep.
Okay, so he's on...
So he's on Corellia, and he's on the streets, and he's like, oh no, I gotta do something.
What
he steals.
How old is he?
He is 11, and he steals some food from a dude, or pickpockets him, and the dude catches his arm, and he's the captain of a ship, a pirate vessel. And then he gets on there, and then he
now, wait a second.
grows up.
Is this a cruel pirate captain, or is this like, I'm going to take you under my wing and teach you how to do things?
This is like, I'm going to teach you how to do things.
Like,
but also a little bit negative.
So obviously you're stealing, so you need a good, strong father figure. Come on my ship, and I'll teach you how to do things.
No, it's more like,
really hard.
I could find a use for you, and then takes you on the ship, and he kind of learns all the stuff of, like, smuggling and doing rum running, which isn't a thing in Star Wars. It's spice running is what it's called. And they do all those things. And then eventually, there's a Chewbacca on the ship. And by Chewbacca, I mean literally Chewbacca is on the ship.
Oh.
Somehow gets sold as a slave. They're transporting slaves. Han Solo is like, this is stupid. I hate this. Also, I hate the captain. I'm going to steal this Wookiee and leave.
Oh, so
and he saves his life.
And
then Chewbacca owes him his life. Life debt. Boom. They're best friends.
Hold on a second. He saves him from slavery, and Chewie's like, I like you so much. I'll hang out with you forever.
Yep. Well, in Wookiee society, if you save someone's life...
Say that 5 times fast.
Wookiee society, Wookiee society, Wookiee society, Wookiee society. If you save someone's life...
Pretty sure that's 4 times.
They say in Wookiee society...
Haha!
See what I did there? That you have to... Like, life debts are a huge part of their culture. And, like, if you save someone's life, then you owe them their life. So you have to save their life, and then you're, like, free of it. Now, Han Solo in the Legends books, he, like, frees him of it. Like, he tells him, like, you don't need to say free your life debt.
Is Han ever, like, looking at a map on a really cliffy planet, and he's like, it's all fake, just so Chewie can save his life? So he's, like, looking at the map, and he's walking towards the cliff. He's like, I'm not looking where I'm going.
Oh, I guess.
And he falls off, and then Chewie's like, you saved me, thanks.
And then Chewbacca leaves and never comes back. Just kidding.
Credits.
But I'll be very disappointed if this Han Solo movie does not include a Kessel Run.
Really?
Because...
But then it has to... Like, the Kessel Run? Or
the Kessel Run that he does in less than 12 parsecs.
Well, then they have to define what a parsec is.
A parsec is already a defined term.
What is it?
It's a real scientific term for a measurement of space.
So...
It's like a distance.
So they have to digitize a black hole?
They have to digitize a bunch... So the way Han Solo does it... Because originally people were like, 12 parsecs, that's not a time. Like, parsecs aren't time, parsecs are distance.
Yeah.
Which is true, because in the Star Wars universe, used to, at least before Han Solo figured it out, you had to go around this giant area of space called the Maw, and it was a bunch of black holes all on top of each other, and to get to Kessel, which is the spice mining planet, which is the drug in it's like cocaine in Star Wars.
Ayo!
To get the spice out of there, like, the Empire patrolled all the routes in, except for through the Maw, because the Maw was like a bunch of black holes. Nobody's stupid enough to go through there.
Yeah.
So the Kessel Run was trying to get through all the blockades of Imperial vessels outside of Kessel. So Han Solo figures out and plots a course through the Maw and survives. And he finds the shortest route to Kessel through the Maw. That's why he did it in under 12 parsecs. That's the idea.
So you want this to be a drug running movie?
To some extent, yeah. Because it also would lead
Fast and Furious 4?
It would also lead up to Episode 4, because Jabba the Hutt complains about Han Solo dropping his load of spice at the first sign of Imperials. And so that happens because he gets caught once, and he has to get rid of the evidence.
So on the way out?
Yeah.
So how do you get into Kessel? You get in through the Maw?
You can, I guess. You probably get
How do you get out? Because I assume...
Probably both ways.
I assume the Imperials know that it's a drug planet?
Yeah, they have slaves working the mines.
The Imperials do?
Yeah.
So they're selling the drugs?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's like underworld criminals. All the underworld, like, works for the Empire. The Empire owns, like, the mob.
Gosh.
As in the Hutts. Like, they all have an agreement. They all work together.
That's never been fleshed out.
Well, in the books it was, but...
Well, they should flesh that out.
Those are all gone now. Not really, though. You can still buy them.
So you want a Kessel Run.
I want a Kessel Run, and I want Chewbacca's life debt.
An origin story.
I do.
And a life debt?
At least the origin of Chewbacca and Han. I don't necessarily need, like, a from birth Han story, but if you can show me why Han Solo and Chewbacca are friends...
Any space battles?
You can do a Kessel Run, I'd be happy. Well, of course there's going to be space battles. Han Solo, like, what does Han Solo do besides shoot a blaster? He flies around a ship. Those are the two things he's known for.
Yeah.
Being a pilot, shooting his gun.
But is the Millennium Falcon really that good in space combat?
Well, one-on-one with somebody would be. Like, think all the fighters he shoots down. I'm guessing it'd be something like that. He's not going to be able to take down anything bigger than that.
I think the Millennium Falcon is at its best in combat in Episode 7. At the very beginning.
Oh, yeah, when it's, like, halfway broken down?
Yeah. Because, like, Episode 4, he comes in and kind of saves the day.
Yeah.
And...
they also, like, leave the Death Star with all those TIE fighters attacking them.
I guess they take out... But that's a whole crew.
And they escape the Star Destroyers off Tatooine when they first leave.
So how many people are going to be in his crew, then, on the Millennium Falcon? Do you want to see how he gets the Falcon?
That'd be interesting, too. Actually, that's probably going to happen because they did cast Lando Calrissian as Donald Glover.
Yeah.
So I'm sure, actually, we will see how he gets the Millennium Falcon because apparently, story used to go that he won it from a game of sabacc with Lando, which is like poker.
Yeah.
And he, like, won it in a deal. So maybe we'll see that. Probably. At least some version of how he gets the Millennium Falcon. So I'm super excited.
What if that's how he gets Chewie? That's how he gets his life debt.
No, it can't be like from a poker game. Like Han has to rescue
He gets
Chewie.
the Millennium Falcon, and then they're like loading Chewie off. He's like, okay, you can have all this, but you don't get all the equipment inside or all my products.
Yeah.
All my consumables.
Sure.
And then he's like, Chewie's like the last one to get off. Yeah. So Han knocks off his 2 guards because obviously Chewie needs to be escorted by 2 people at all times.
Right.
He's like, you're coming with me, kid.
I doubt Lando would own a slave, though. Maybe, though. He was kind of sketchy back in the old days.
At least they're supposed to be friends, I guess, right?
Yeah, because he's like Chewie, old buddy, and then he like chokes him. No, that's not the very first thing. He hugs him first. The choking is after he betrays them. That's when he chokes Lando.
Yeah. After
the deal with the Empire is flushed out. So either way, Han Solo movie. Maybe Han Ren? Weird. Don't like it.
That's an awful name.
I know. That's why it can't be true.
What if they just mean that Han is actually short for something else?
Han Mabuki?
Yes.
Which is what Jabba the Hutt says. Han Mabuki. Ho ho.
Yeah, that could be his real name. Maybe that's him hiding in plain sight.
That'd be hilarious. Some funny comments on the website said, why not say that that's what the dog's name was Han.
They named the dog Han. That would be funny.
That'd be what a great little thing. It would be absolutely terrible. It wouldn't be funny the second time.
You know what also funny that happened this week?
What?
Project Scorpio was announced.
That is pretty interesting. Now, we have an opinion on this issue, kind of conceptually, with what Xbox is doing. So
I'm confused and I'm sitting right next to you. Can you explain yourself?
So what I mean by that, so like conceptually, why are they releasing the Scorpio? Is the Scorpio supposed to be a halfway jumping point from this console generation to the next? So is this the new console from them? I don't think it is. I think they're marketing this as like Xbox 1.2, or like
1.1.
1 point Scorpio, like what? Like it's still an Xbox One. Don't understand conceptually why it would make sense for them to do this and not just wait 2 years and release a brand new console from scratch. But maybe this is a new console from scratch and they're just trying to beat Sony at it. I don't even know. Either way, the specs are a little bit better.
Do you have the specs?
I do have the specs.
The only spec I know off the top of my head is that it runs native at 4K 60 frames per second.
So,
cool.
CPU, and this is against the PlayStation Pro.
PS4 Pro.
PS4 Pro. I'm not going to do... Well, Nintendo Switch is on here, but we know it's not going to be close. So
you're looking at a table of the Scorpio versus the PS4 Pro?
Yep, and this was released 8 hours ago, so I know it's the freshest information.
The freshest!
So CPU, Scorpio has a 2.3 gigahertz octa-core, and a PS4 Pro has a 2.1 gigahertz octa-core. So we're talking about 0.2 gigahertz, so 200 megahertz is what we're talking about here. If I can translate that into another little hertzy.
You're talking about speed?
Talking about CPU speed. 0.2 better. Graphics capability, 36 compute units at 911 megahertz is the PS4 Pro. Don't know what that means.
That's a lot of numbers and a lot of...
I have no idea what that means. All the GPUs I work with say like 4 gigs, 2 gigs.
What did the PS4 Pro say?
36 compute units at 911 megahertz. Project Scorpio's 40 compute units at 1172 megahertz.
That's not RAM.
No, that's
no way
GPU.
Did they have 40 RAM.
No, it's not RAM. It's GPU. Memory, which is the RAM, 12 gigabytes GDDR5 for the Scorpio.
I didn't see that, DDR5.
For PS4 Pro, it's DDR5, 8 gigs. So we're talking an extra 4 gigs on the Scorpio.
50%.
Yep.
More gigs.
Memory bandwidth, 326 gigabytes per second for the Scorpio, 218 gigabytes for the PS4 Pro. Storage capacity are both a terabyte. Optical drive, 4K Blu-ray on Scorpio, and just Blu-ray for PS4 Pro. And then portable, both no, but they only put that on there because the Switch is on here. And then they put what their guess on the price would be, $400 or $500 to $600, whereas the PlayStation 4 Pro is $475. So that's the
PS4
specs.
Pro is $475.
That's what this
Is that
is.
accurate?
I think so.
I thought it was just $400. I thought they just released it at the same price as the PS4 when it released.
Let me look. PS4 Pro.
So the Scorpio.
$400. You're right. Maybe my information isn't the most up to date. I question it now. It was released 8 hours ago, but maybe it's just wrong.
So the Scorpio.
Yeah.
If this is a new console,
It's slightly better.
it's slightly better than an upgraded console. A halfway mark.
Right.
Because
we've had upgraded consoles in the past, so it's not new that they would give us like an upgraded console halfway through the lifespan of a console generation, right? Like the mini PS2.
well, they made a big deal out of the PS4 Pro.
They did, because it's supposed to, well, yeah.
More so than like the slim PS3 or the slim PS2.
That's true. That's true.
But the PS4 Pro is 100% not the PS5. The Scorpio, I don't know if it's the Xbox 2 or if it's Xbox 1.1.
Or 720.
Yes,
We don't
whatever,
know.
whatever stupid name they're going to decide.
Yeah. I'm so confused.
So if it's a new console, it's a little lacking, especially compared to the PS4 Pro, which is just nipping at its heels in terms of all the specs you just read.
Okay.
Right? If it was a new console, you would expect the Scorpio to blow the pants off of the PS4 Pro.
Right.
Because it's the last gen.
Right. So like an Xbox 360 versus an Xbox One,
Yeah.
that jump is huge.
It should be.
And it should be. You're right.
But this jump, if the Scorpio is a new console, it's already lacking based on the PS4 Pro. There's not a lot of difference between the PS4 Pro and the Scorpio.
The Scorpio is slightly better,
Yes.
spec-wise.
If it is a halfway mark, then it is comparable to the PS4 Pro, and it is, and the ways that it is better means more if they are similar.
If they're both supposed to be halfway markers.
Yes, but the fact that they're just going to release a halfway in a battle that they've already lost by a significant margin.
Mm-hmm.
Why would they do that? What are they trying to gain back here?
So you think that it makes no sense for Microsoft to release a Xbox 1.5 slash the Scorpio if they're already losing the console battle this generation? They should be pouring in their efforts into Xbox 2.
They just released the Elite, Xbox One Elite, Xbox One S. That's what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
Which you would say is a halfway mark, because that's similar to the PS4 Pro.
Mm-hmm.
So that would make somebody think, okay, the Scorpio is next generation. But to combat that, if that is the next generation, PS4, the PS5 has not been announced yet.
That's true.
And if the Scorpio comes out this year, or the middle of next year,
Mm-hmm.
the PS5, having not been announced yet, can see exactly what their competition is doing.
Right.
So I don't know if the PS4 Pro was excellent strategery on Sony's part
Strategery.
for them to say we're gonna make Xbox think that this is the new console. They're gonna show their Scorpio hand. Psych! It's a halfway marker. The PS5's not here yet.
I mean, really, the PS4 Pro is for PSVR. Like, that's the way I've always looked at it. Like, it's for people who have 4K TVs.
Yep.
And for people who have PSVR. Like, that's it. Because it has HDR and it has 4K. Streaming, I think.
Yeah.
Not like Blu-ray
You can watch
player.
Luke Cage in 4K.
You could. So...
Although, why would you?
Yeah, seriously. Let's be honest. Let's be honest here, okay? So, I don't know. I am not really in the market for an Xbox One, even though I have friends that have begged me.
One friend.
One friend specifically, who begged me this weekend to buy an Xbox One so I could play Destiny with him. What the heck?
Even though he has no other friends that play Destiny on the Xbox One, maybe that person should buy a PS4. We could all play Destiny together.
He does have friends who play on the Xbox One, but they all also have a PS4. So I'm like, why don't you just take your whole clan, move them to PS4 when Destiny 2 comes out, and we could all have a good time together. That's all I'm saying.
That's all I'm saying.
That's all I'm saying, okay? Okay?
What else? So, Xbox is undoubtedly lost this generation, which is fine. PS3 lost in the middle of last generation, but towards the end, they became much more even.
Well, I mean...
It started off poorly.
I guess the point of releasing a console isn't to win the numbers game against your competition, it's to make a profit. So even if they haven't sold the most, it might still make sense for them to like release more consoles because they're still making a profit off it. As long as they've hit that profit margin.
I mean, maybe, but who's going to buy an Xbox and then be like, so who's this marketed to? Because like...
I think it's marketed to Xbox owners. To get rid of their Xbox Ones and get the Scorpio. Get the upgraded version.
It just seems like a mistake. Because like, obviously there's not that many Xbox One owners.
There are a lot. I mean, I don't...
There's a lot. There's, I think it's equivalent maybe to the Xbox 360, but compared to the PS4, there's not a lot. So maybe they're trying to get people to jump ship, maybe not jump ship, but to... Upgrade to the Xbox One, have PS4 owners also own an Xbox One, or a Scorpio in this case. But that doesn't make a lot of sense. This would be... I don't know. This would be much better as a new generation of consoles, although it's not happening. And I think we also need to consider not only the specs of the game, but the lifespan and the livelihood of Microsoft versus Sony in general when it comes to consoles. Specifically speaking, third-party and first-party games. Because third-party... You can say that first-party games are what get people to join a specific console.
Right, like...
Xbox One or PS4.
Or Nintendo, right? I mean, that's like... The only argument I hear mostly from people who like the Switch or like the Wii U is always because of first-party games.
Yeah.
They love Zelda, they love the Mario games, that's the reason they're loyal. And I think that's fair. I mean, that's why people, like, stick with Xbox, like you were saying.
I'm not sure if Nintendo has any foot in this camp. Like, I don't like that people are comparing the Switch to any of this, because...
Why?
The Switch, I just don't think it's comparable to this. It's like comparing a handheld to a console. And, yeah, people are like, well, the Switch is also a home console.
But look at units sold.
By the way... If you leave the Switch in the dock for too long, it'll warp the Switch itself. Much like when the old iPhones used to bend in people's pockets, your Switch will get bent if you leave it in the dock.
Interesting.
So keep that in mind. But, I mean, if you're looking at units sold, fine, but it's still not the same market. It's the market of gamers, but there's different segments of gamers.
I don't know if we can just completely write off the Switch because it's a console and it's mobile.
I don't think there's any competition between the Switch and the PS4. It's not like... I don't think there's been a lot of people that will buy a PS4 that'll be like, I'm not going to buy a Switch. Or buy a Switch and not buy a PS4. Because they're so different from each other.
Okay.
So, like...
I can see that.
There's a lot of...
I would say, when you first said it, I thought, if there's a person with money in their pocket and they're like, I want to buy a new gaming console, they see a PS4, an Xbox One, and a Switch, I think that they're only going to choose one of them, and they might choose the Switch.
That would be a mistake. There are no games on the Switch.
It is a mistake right now.
For right now.
But I've heard Breath of the Wild is worth it. I don't know. I've played it, actually.
Yeah.
For about an hour and a half.
Ooh.
It was really good.
Good.
I don't have a Switch, though.
But we need to talk about the staying power of games on specifically Xbox One and PS4. Because I think...
By staying power, can you define what that means?
I'm getting there.
Okay.
Because I think people will get a console based on their first-party exclusives. So for Xbox, obviously you have Gears of War, Forza, Halo. PS4, I could go on. I own a PS4. There's a lot of games. There's the Uncharted's, the Horizons, the Nier Automata, Persona 5 now just came out. It's getting incredible scores. Bloodborne, things like that.
Bloodborne was huge.
I'm biased because I have a PS4 and I know better games for it. And then from there, it's the third-party games that keep people playing on that console. So the Destinies, the Call of Duties, the Battlefields, the NBAs, the Maddens, the NHLs, I guess.
A million of things,
MLB is not Sony exclusive, but MLB The Show is the best MLB game that's on PS4.
Yeah.
So maybe that's not comparable. But if you have... Even if, like... So by staying power, I mean just people that will go to a game, will go to a console, and then stay with that console. Either through the whole generation, or it's where they... By staying power, I guess it means, in my head, where they buy their third-party games. Where they buy their Call of Duties, their Battlefields, their Destinies.
Okay.
So And just going off the fact that we can name so many first-party console games for PS4 as opposed to Xbox One. So there's like 3. There's Forza, there's Halo, there's Gears of War. Can you think of any other first-party Halo? Sorry.
Xbox games?
First-party Xbox One games?
There was that one that was like spray painty when it first came out.
By Insomniac?
On Xbox.
Sunset Overdrive?
Sunset Overdrive.
That was on Xbox 360. I think that was a long time ago.
Okay. I thought that was one.
But then you compare that to the quality and the number of first-party games for PS4. Like, so Uncharted 4...
Xbox One.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
That was like when it first launched. That's why I thought of that. So I remember looking at it and being like, oh. And Rome also wasn't exclusive.
Rome?
Yeah. There's this Roman game.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
But then you have so many other first-party games. So, incredible. So, Halo is good, from what I hear. Gears of War did really well. Reviews. Forza is normal Forza, which is really good. So, even if all those games are ranked at like a 9, 9.5, you have Horizon, which is a 9.5 to a 10.0 game. You have Uncharted, which is similar, 9.5 to 10. You have Persona 5, which just came out, JRPG, which is getting... We just looked on Metacritic, it's a 9.4.
Yeah,
so
it's like 9.5. In the highest ranking of all time on Metacritic.
Yeah. There's Ratchet and Clank, which is... and all these games are so different from each other that I'm naming.
They are very different.
And I mean, Halo and Gears of War and Forza are all different from each other too.
And Bloodborne was huge when it first came out.
Yeah.
Like, it got really good ratings as well. Software makes some great games.
So I don't even think... So I guess what I'm trying to say is there's such a strong staying power of the PS4 that I think Microsoft should just abandon this generation and say,
focus on the next one.
We're going to focus on the next one. We're going to not focus on... focus on hardware, but also focus on what games we can do. Because of the games I just named for PS4, like 75% of them were new franchises. Uncharted 4 was the end of Uncharted. That's not coming back. Right. But you do have Horizon, which will probably
just started.
You'll get... Persona 5 doesn't count.
Nope.
The game that you said. Bloodborne is going to be...
remade, probably.
Probably make a sequel. Will be huge. So you have all these other first-party games that are doing really well on PS4. The Last of Us 2, which is the beginning of a franchise, I would probably say. I mean, it could be the end.
It could be. We don't know. We don't know. But still good.
But like Gears of War, it's Gears 4. Halo is like Halo 7.
Right.
Forza is numerous. So what are they trying to make that is exclusive to Xbox that's brand new? They're trying to make Scalebound, but that got canceled. So Scalebound was supposed to be huge.
Yeah.
And then it ended up not coming out at all. So Destiny is a huge game, no matter what anybody says. They have console, they don't have exclusivity, but they have that deal with PlayStation. You get your stuff early.
That's true.
Call of Duty, always the number one selling game.
Yep.
Has a deal with PlayStation.
Yep. Which is weird because in the last generation, it was all flipped.
Yeah.
Because you paid for online, so Microsoft could like throw some money around probably to try and get all the stuff first. Right, and
as opposed to Sony and PS3, Xbox 360 era.
Yeah,
that's what you're saying.
Yeah. So like I'm guessing what happened was Sony looked at the last generation and said, "Wow, we do need to charge for online services because we can't compete with Xbox for all these like exclusive things like Call of Duty and the other big name guys." And so they adjusted it to try and get all those deals, and they did.
So what Xbox is doing well, better than PS4, is backwards compatibility. They keep releasing backwards compatible games.
Yeah.
And you don't need a Scorpio for that. So just to circle back to the Scorpio, just make it the next console. If you want to release it, fine, release it. Make sure it's better than the PS4 Pro by a substantial margin. Or hold on to it, save it. But right now, the PS5, which isn't even announced yet, if the PS4 Pro is this close to the Scorpio, which could be their next generation console, the PS5 should blow it out of the water. They have actual goals that they can see and that they can meet, that they need to meet.
Yeah. We won't know what the PS5 looks like, but we can imagine it's going to be better.
A brain implant. PS5 brain implant.
Yeah, probably. It all feels real because it's in your brain. Mm-hmm. So anyways.
So
that's the Scorpio.
I guess that's what I'm talking about, Scorpio.
So we both played some games this week.
We played some games. You were on spring break.
I am. This is the last day of spring break, sad face.
The last few hours of freedom.
The wee hours of my last night of freedom.
That's right.
Yeah, I played Dishonored, and I beat it.
Hey, Dishonored 1.
Dishonored 1, the definitive edition.
For PS4.
I did not do all the downloadable content, though. I want to go back and do that.
But it's not on your it's not on your 3 games
It's not.
that you're currently playing?
Yeah, I got peer pressure gamed into Mass Effect. It happens sometimes. Yeah, Dishonored was awesome, man. You've played Dishonored?
I've played Dishonored. We can spoil the crap out of it if you like.
Yeah, spoiler alert.
For Dishonored 1.
For Dishonored 1, not 2, 1. So this is a long time ago.
Did you combine any powers in a really cool way?
No.
Lame.
I really didn't use a lot of powers. I tried to sneak everywhere.
Just a lot of sneaking?
Blink. I use Blink all the time.
Blinking?
And I occasionally would summon rats.
How many times did you blink? You think 180, 181, maybe 182? Blink 182?
Yeah, I probably blink at 182.
Okay.
Man, so many good things about that game.
Dishonored?
Yeah.
Are you a little upset that you waited till now to play it? Since it's been out? Or
a little bit. I understand why I didn't want to play it at first. I think the gameplay, I haven't played a whole lot of games like that, and so I wasn't like super gung-ho about it at first. It's a little intimidating at first to look at it.
Yeah,
like
I guess so.
Watching people play it, I'm like, this looks really intense.
Oh, yeah.
But really it's not. And I enjoyed it because the level design was so good. There were like so many different ways to approach different situations. I enjoy stealth games, and this is very stealthy. I wish I had been able to do every mission not even being detected.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome. I was not able to do that. But I did keep my killing down to a minimum. My favorite thing to do was I got the upgrade for the sleep dart, where it immediately takes effect even if you're in combat.
Oh, yeah.
And so sometimes I would like a boss would detect me, like I missed like a downward assassination from above.
Oh, yeah.
And then they start attacking me and like defend it and hit him with the sword and it doesn't kill him because he got a ton of health. I sleep dart him.
Sleep.
And they're immediately asleep, and then you can just assassinate them like that. So that was really nice. I used sleep darts as much as I could. So I kept the chaos really low, the chaos meter.
Yeah.
And so the result I got was what I wanted, which was putting Emily on the throne, and Corvo lived to old age and protected her. And the city didn't go dark. The city survived. And apparently the other endings I know, like, I think one of them, the city gets, like, killed by the plague, essentially.
Yeah.
One of them, Corvo just, like, leaves on a ship or something. Forgets the whole thing. I don't know. I read a short synopsis of it. After I played it, I read a short synopsis of the other endings. But, yeah, no, I liked it. And I loved all the details they put into all the books that you could read. Because I enjoyed reading a bunch of...
You read books in that game?
Yeah, you like, pick up collectibles and you can like read books that are just laying around.
I don't remember.
And so there's like I just loved the whole culture of like the whaling city and like the sea and the old ancient ruins and like kind of how everything.
What do you think of that heart?
Dude, the heart was super creepy.
Yeah, isn't it weird?
Yeah, and it would like whisper to you through and on the PS4 it's through the controller. It speaks from the speaker on the controller, so it was like even more creepy. Because I was like, where's it coming from? It's so much closer to my head. Yeah, I was like playing at my brother's house, and we both had our headsets on. Or no, I had my headset off, but the volume was really low on the TV. And then all of a sudden, I put out the heart, and my controller started going, and then I hit the L2 button, and it started talking to me.
Yeah.
And his wife freaked out. She's like, "What is that?" And then she looked at the screen, and there's a heart, and she's like, "That's weird. That's weird." I was like, "Yep, totally is." So Dishonored was really good, man. I feel like I could play through it again, and it would be a totally different experience if I just would approach situations differently.
You could play it through again.
I could. And I do want to go through all the DLC. Though, the very end was nuts with the granny lady, Granny Rags.
You have to remind me, because I...
Okay, so there are a few different characters. There's, like, all the government that you're killing everyone. You're part of this, like, conspiracy group trying to kill all the leaders who...
making the city worse?
Who they like killed the Empress and took over themselves and are doing a bunch of terrible things. And so you are with a bunch of conspiracy people.
Who's Emily? Emily's the new Empress?
Emily is the daughter of the Empress. So you start the game and you walk up the steps to the palace. You just came back from a mission and you're talking to the Empress, who you can tell she kind of likes you. Like there's romantic stuff, like tension in the air, and throughout the game, there's also like hints that Emily might be your daughter.
Yeah.
And so like Emily wants to play hide and seek with you. You play hide and seek with her. You come back, and then all of a sudden these assassins come out of nowhere, kill the Empress, and then you fight off the assassins, and then Emily still survives.
But you get blamed for the assassination.
But you get blamed for assassinating the Empress and get thrown in jail. Meanwhile, all the other like lords who controlled the different parts of government kind of take away the Empress position and make like a High Chancellor who like controls everything, and it's the old spy master or something.
I am the Empire.
Exactly.
Whatever that quote is.
I am the Senate.
Oh, there you go.
So that all happens. So you're part of this conspiracy that breaks you out of jail. That's like, we're true to the Empress. We think Emily should be on the throne, not all these old dudes.
Where is Emily in the whole game?
At first, you don't know. You have to find out where she is, and she's like hidden by one of the lords who supports the new government.
Hidden or like enslaved?
Hidden, not enslaved.
Hidden from who? From you?
From everyone.
Why don't they just kill her?
I don't know. I think they might want to be able to use her in the future for some reason.
So she's captured.
So she's captured, and you got to go rescue her and then kill off all the government guys, put her on the throne.
Okay.
So you do the whole thing.
So that's the premise.
Yeah. So you go through and you one by one kill off all these like government people, like the big head honchos that when you first got in the game, you walked up the steps to the Empress, like they were all there doing random stuff.
The mob bosses.
Yeah. So
the kingpins.
That's like the main thing. Now there's like a couple side stories. One of them is Granny Rags, which is this old lady who's a little crazy in the head, who always wants you to do stuff for her, and she gives you like runes which help you upgrade your powers.
Okay.
She's super weird. She thinks you're one of her lovers from her past life.
Hey-ho.
And there's like all these books about her, and it's interesting. I don't want to get into all the details. Then there's this other guy, and I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Screwjack? I can't remember. He's like a mob boss of like this gang.
Okay.
That's Slackjaw is his name. Slackjaw. And so you got him, and you've got Granny Rags, and they like kind of are the underworld of the game. Like underneath the government. When you're not around government, their lackeys are running around. Really, it's just Slackjaw's guys.
They're bad.
And
they'll hurt you?
They're kind of bad, but there's a time like he invites you, like Slackjaw invites you over to talk because he wants to help you, or wants you to help him with something, and he's going to help you in return.
I got you.
And so like you walk in, nobody attacks you. So I did that, and essentially he's like this character you can use. Like he gives you options. So you can assassinate every target, or there's always a non-lethal way you can do it. And he like offers a non-lethal way for one of the enemies that you kill. So I don't think I went with it. I wanted to kill him, so I killed him based on what they said. But Slackjaw at the end, Granny Rags has him captured in like a stock and irons or whatever.
Oh yeah,
Clapton irons, and she's like has a bathtub boiling with oil. And she said, I'm going to boil him down to his bones. Help me, would you, dearie? I've got some birthday presents for you. And so you have to choose whether or not to save Slackjaw or to help Granny Rags and get some runes out of it.
What'd you do?
I fought Granny Rags. I was like, I cannot sit by and let someone get boiled to death just for their bones.
Just for the bones?
I was like, this is terrible. So you fight her, and she's like a witch. And she's like the hardest boss I fought. She like teleported everywhere and had all these fake versions of her, and I'd like go into her room and find her like pendant or something that like held her power and throw it in a furnace before I could even hurt her. So I
don't remember that at all.
Yeah, it was crazy. It's at the very end of the game, and I totally called the ending. So you go through and you kill all these guys, this hierarchy of government officials, and then once you're done with it, I was like, oh, game's over? Wait a second, the game can't be over yet. I bet everybody betrays me. Guess what? They all betray you. And everybody in the conspiracy throws you under the rug, throws you back into prison, and then they're going to execute you for the murder of everyone that you just murdered for them. Yeah. But you get broken out and everything, and you go back through and you kill those guys then. It's the long process.
But enjoyable.
But it was fun. It was good, man. And that part was a little creepy. There's like all these just really creepy, kind of like culty things going on, which added a lot of spice, I thought, to the game. I don't know. I liked it. I liked the naval kind of oceany feeling, like the port
like
city.
Steampunk, but it's on the port.
Yeah,
so.
it's kind of steampunky. I liked it.
Yeah.
It was a good game. The gameplay mechanics. I will get Dishonored 2.
From what I understand, Dishonored 2 got a really good score too.
Yeah, I remember when it first came out, people were hailing it as a great game.
Yeah.
So I will get it. I think the price even just dropped to like 40 or 30 last time I looked. So I'll probably wait until I beat Mass Effect Andromeda or Horizon before I pick it up. Because obviously I'm not going to be done playing Overwatch ever.
Yeah.
So, so that's kind of how I feel about it.
Speaking of Horizon.
Horizon.
The last thing I did before I got here was get the platinum in Horizon.
He did.
So
he tweeted it out
to me. Got the platinum.
You did a great job.
You get the platinum in one playthrough. It doesn't matter what difficulty. So, it's really easy. It's really easy platinum. It's not hard. The game itself was incredible.
Yep.
The story really picked up for me. So I made a big mistake in the game, which was getting to max level accidentally.
By doing the hunters
in the first half of the game.
Yeah.
So I looked at my clock because when you do a manual save, it tells you what how many hours you played.
Yeah.
And I played 65 hours. People say the max is 40 hours. So I played an extra 25 hours on accident. I mean, I was enjoying myself the whole time.
Right, so it's not bad.
Yeah, and we had the photo mode challenge with another podcast.
We did, which was fun.
Which was a lot of fun.
I think you won that one.
I
think it kind of stopped.
I hope so. They did kind of stop. So essentially I got the what am I trying to say? I got to max level way too early. So then the rest of the game wasn't just like there was not really any challenge to it.
Right, so you had like some really good weapons.
The very final fight was challenging.
Was it?
I didn't die or anything.
Were there two Thunder Jaws actually at the same time? That's like the most challenging thing I could think of. Multiple Thunder Jaws. Don't tell me. Never mind. I don't want to know. You're being hesitant right now.
Okay.
Be hesitant.
No, it was not that. It was. I got really cornered by a whole bunch of like human characters.
Mm-hmm.
This is not the final battle. This was just like a side quest.
Mm-hmm.
I only died a couple times because I was so high level. That was one of the times I died. The most recent one, I got cornered by like 8 different guys, and I couldn't roll or jump away, and they just kept hitting me, and I'm like, okay, I'm screwed.
Yeah, dude. Okay, so side note, they updated the AI in the game, and the humans got way harder.
In Horizon?
Yes.
I think now, if you shoot somebody and a human character sees it,
mm-hmm.
They will then be on alert constantly. They'll be looking for you, but they don't know where you are. And it used to be just like they would be on alert, kind of like the machines,
mm-hmm. for
a certain amount of time, and then after that, if nothing happens, they just go back to doing their own thing.
Yeah.
But now, if they see somebody, they're like, "I'm going for that." I had an internal debate today when I was playing, yesterday when I was playing, and I was doing all the final in-game stuff,
mm-hmm.
and on the way here with myself about whether or not this game has a better story than The Last of Us. And
that's high praise.
I honestly do not. I don't know. They're different stories.
Mm-hmm.
One's much larger than the other.
Yeah.
They both kind of have to do with the end of civilization, which is an interesting parallel.
Interesting context to put a story around.
I think once you beat the game, which I think you should do as soon as possible, you'll understand where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
But I was so much more interested in the old history in Horizon, which is like current day history,
mm-hmm.
versus the modern day in that game, which is Aloy's story.
Kind of like the different tribes, intertribal warfare and stuff.
Yeah. I was much interested in what was happening, what caused
in
the
like
end of
2130 or whatever it was.
What caused the end of the civilization.
Yeah.
And what they did and how everything proceeded to be the Aloy story.
Yeah.
I think that's an incredible story that I haven't seen before, that I haven't heard before. There's a lot of different things. The way they told the story, which was through like audio logs, when you're exploring kind of the caverns.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes that's good, sometimes it's bad. Sometimes there's holograms in the game where it's like there's like it's a set piece.
Yeah.
And it's a hologram, but you can walk around versus just a cutscene.
Yeah.
And I would prefer to have a cutscene for all those holograms instead.
Sure.
But it gets the same point across. you find out some things about Aloy, and the Nora tribe and all those other people, and it blew my mind.
Okay.
It was crazy. At the end of the game, I talked about this at the very beginning of the game. It seemed very not anti-religion, but when I was talking about the Nora in the very beginning of the game, they kind of believed. They had a lot of blind faith,
right? In the Mother Mountain thing,
the All Mother, but it was just like a protocol,
right?
Like a
it was the computer in the mountain.
Yeah, so I'm like, that's kind of a slight towards their religion.
Yeah,
and after you leave the Norlands, you don't really go back for anything.
Yeah,
until the very end of the game, as you'd expect, and they still have that same viewpoint, and I'm like, you guys are idiots. Like everything I've seen in this game, from what everyone's saying. And you guys are just worshiping this, it was hard for me to go back.
Yeah.
And I assume it would be hard for Aloy to go back.
Yeah.
Because she's like, I've seen so much, I've learned so much, you guys are idiots.
You guys are stuck in the past.
Yeah. I highly, highly recommend it to anybody. Incredible game. I got, as I was telling you off air before this, I got the Platinum, and I ejected the disc from my PS4, and I put it in the case, and I did the sad solemn walk to my game case, to my shelving, and I put the game in the shelf, which essentially means I'm done with this.
Donezo.
Especially now that I got Platinum.
Yeah. So, how much money is this game worth in an underpaid gamer?
$75.
Ooh, it's worth more than you paid.
This game is worth more than I paid.
That's pretty high price. Now, I think that Horizon Zero Dawn may have experienced a little bit of less attention than it deserved because of Hyrule, Zelda, Breath of the Wild.
Okay.
Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Breath of the Wild came out.
Because Breath of the Wild came out
3 days afterwards.
Yeah, and then immediately things went from like, oh wow, look at these really cool screenshots to everything's all about Zelda and the Switch.
Yeah.
Not that I think that Zelda's bad, or because I think it's like when I played it was awesome. But how do you feel about that? Do you think that's true, or
I actually once I got deep enough into the story and there's some twists and turns I wasn't expecting.
Yeah.
I literally thought to myself, I don't see how Zelda could be better than this. I don't see how any game could be better than this.
So it's like so out of the games you've played, is this in your top 3?
See, that's really hard to say.
Because then it also weighs nostalgia in there, and that gets hard.
I know. I really enjoyed it, and I think the story was incredible. But like I said, I think I somewhat ruined my experience by getting so high level so early.
Yeah.
To where it wasn't necessarily grinding. I didn't feel like I was grinding the whole time. But I did want to get my Platinum in one run through.
Yeah.
So I wanted to make sure, and I didn't want to spoil anything for me. So I wanted to make sure I had all the trophies, but I also didn't want to spoil things, so I couldn't look at the trophies.
Right, like a completed trophy list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was always in the back of my head, like, oh, should I do this final mission? Because I think like games should these days. If you go to the final mission, it says once you do this,
you can't go
it's
back.
the end of the game. You can't go back. I like it when games do that.
Right.
But then again, at the end of the game, it gives you that like, oh, you can time travel back to before you did this thing, and to finish all the quests you did.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, I beat the game, went back and farmed for some trophies that I needed to get, and there was more errands. Like throughout the game, like I went to some old places I haven't been to before, and people were like, hey, I got something for you to do.
Hey, would you do this for me?
That's weird. How could I not have done this and still got 100% on the game? But
yeah,
very happy with it. I really want you to finish it, so you know what I'm talking about. We can talk.
We can talk about the story. Yeah,
because I was sitting there in shock. I did not. It finally got to the point where it was 1:30 in the morning, and I'm like, I do not want to stop playing. I had to. I'm like, I have to stop. I need to find a good stopping point, but I do not want to stop.
Yeah, no, I get that. That's how I felt the night that I beat Uncharted 4.
Yeah.
It was like 1:30 when I finished it, and I was like, I didn't even want to be done playing games, because that was such a great experience. And I plugged something else in, and I was like, this isn't as good, and I went to bed. So, cool.
It was good. I highly recommend it.
Yeah.
Now, I think... See, I didn't know I had 65 hours into the game. I didn't know how much I put in the game.
Did you have an impression on how long you'd spent?
Not that long. I was probably around 40. I thought.
Yeah.
But I put an extra 25 hours.
But you were way higher than that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
which then leads me to think that I could play Persona and really get sucked in. Because Persona 5, people are saying it's about 100 plus to complete the game.
Yeah.
And they say, in order to get the platinum, you have to go back a couple times. And the one review he said he played it 300 hours. He played it 3 times through.
Oh my gosh.
But he said that he really liked it. They really liked it. Everyone says that it's an incredible game.
Yeah.
I haven't played a JRPG, turn-based JRPG in a long time. I've never played a Persona game.
Yeah.
People say that the relationships, the characters in the Persona games are always the best.
Yeah.
Of like any JRPG.
Jerp.
So I kind of want to experience that. I want to see what all the hype's about.
Yeah.
It's either that or like Mass Effect Andromeda, and I think some of the hype and all the attention from Mass Effect Andromeda has kind of ended, so I'm not really leaning towards that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Prey is not going to be out until...
Not until the end of April.
May.
Prey
in May.
Yeah.
We say that all the time.
Prey in May?
Yeah. So I'm thinking I might get Persona 5.
Cool.
I'm surprised you didn't get Persona 5. I know you got guilt-tripped into Mass Effect Andromeda.
I did.
Tell me about that. What do you think? You haven't played since the update when they fixed everything.
Yeah, I mean, the facial expressions were, like, a little funny at first, but then I just, like, accepted it for what it was, and then it didn't hurt my game experience. I really like the story. I really like the game. I like Mass Effect games. I've played all of them up to this point. So this, to me, is, like, just another Mass Effect game. It's the same formula, just a new story.
Mm-hmm.
I like the story a lot, actually. I'm actually really into sci-fi, like, books and stuff, and I kind of wanted to read a book about this, because... sounds really cool. Like going to a brand new galaxy, starting from fresh, you arrive to mystery and to problems, and nothing worked out the way it was supposed to, and you have to figure out a way for all these people and species from the Milky Way galaxy that you came to know through the first 3 Mass Effect games. You have to get them all to work together to survive and set up colonies and face all the problems that are in the new galaxy of Andromeda.
Are you a girl or a boy?
I'm a guy.
You have any romance yet?
No.
You spying on anybody?
What?
You spying on anybody? Like you got your eye on any romantic interests in game?
There are a few.
For your rider, is it Scott?
I mean,
is his name Scott
yeah,
Ryder?
Scott Ryder.
You gonna change your name if you want?
I think you can,
but you
not Ryder though, because they always call you Ryder.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm going to get the trophies, so for that, so I will have a romantic interest in the game.
What are the trophies? Just a romantic interest, or is it romantic? You get a trophy for each person.
I think there's one for each.
Wow.
Maybe. I don't know. I haven't looked. I just know there's always a trophy for the romantic interest part. So.
There's nobody that sticks out to you right now yet. How many hours have you had put in?
Probably 15 or 20.
Who's the coolest character?
Me. Just kidding. Let's see.
Because Garrus was pretty cool.
I really like... Garrus was awesome in the original. There's a Krogan who joins your team who's awesome.
Are Krogans
the big guys?
The big guys
who
with
are
the
really
weird...
aggressive?
Yeah.
Yeah. Those guys.
What's his name?
His nickname is the Old Man.
Okay.
And literally you're on this the first planet you go to in the main story, and... you're like running around. So all these, you found like ancient artifacts. You run into one character, and she mentions like this old man, like the old man, and you're like, "Who's that?" She's like, "I'm sure you'll run into him at some point." And all of a sudden, like you just come to the next like quest location, and there's this Krogan fighting all of these enemies by himself and crushing them.
Oh yeah.
And then
that's my favorite way to show how strong somebody is.
And he was like,
talk about it in movies all the time.
He's like, "Get out of my way. You don't know how to fight these guys."
Okay.
And you're like, "I can hold my own." He's like, "Well then prove it." Like he's super intense and like doesn't give a F about anybody.
Oh yeah.
He's just like, I want to, like, everything has fallen apart and all I want to do is get revenge on this enemy alien race. And so you just find him like mowing through a bunch of them.
Nice.
So it's pretty cool. I like him a lot, and he's just very matter of fact in conversation. So I like that because some of the other characters are try to be more, I don't know,
emotional,
complex.
EI,
and he's just very direct. Actually, the what's the name of the race? Garrus's race, the Turians. You have a Turian female on your team. Huh. She's awesome. I really like her character too.
Huh.
She's like I don't know if you know any of the story. This is all based from
Andromeda?
Andromeda.
No, I do not. Enlighten me.
Okay, so this is the basics.
Well, I know the basics.
So there's the Citadel in the original Mass Effect.
Yes.
They build a version of that that's smaller, I think, called the Nexus.
Okay. In
the Andromeda Galaxy. So there's just.
Is it also a mass relay?
It is. I don't. Not for those guys.
Not for the Nexus.
Not for those guys. It's supposed to be like the seat of the colonial government once everything gets set up, where all the different Milky Way galaxy races can get together and like mediate their differences and also like work together for common cause.
Okay.
So there's like a big group of people who leave before everyone else to go build the Nexus.
Okay.
In the new galaxy.
That's you?
No, you're part of the human arc. So there's a bunch of arcs for each of the races to go colonize a world. The Nexus has like an advanced team that goes out to go build it, and I think it's like already partially built before they transport it. They get there, a whole bunch of problems. You get to the Nexus and like nobody's on it, and you're like, what the heck?
Oh.
Like walking around, and then you eventually run into somebody. And they're like, oh, wait, you guys are here, and we're like apparently late, like by a couple years. And so there's this huge
like 3 years or like 300 years.
Like 3 years.
Okay.
Like not that late.
Okay.
But they like apparently there had been this huge like uprising against the Andromeda Initiative leaders by a lot of the workers because they thought that they had been lied to. None of the arcs had shown up on time like they're supposed to. So they have no idea what to do. They don't have enough resources to like successfully start a colony on a planet. So they're just like bleeding resources. They're running out of food, rationing, like all this stuff. And so you come to there when like a huge political thing has already. You're dealing with the fallout of a situation that you had no hand in, and it's really it's like cool to hear all the different stories. To where now there's like the Nexus people, and then there's the Outcasts, which are the people who got kicked off the Nexus because they did an uprising.
Okay.
So there's like two factions of Milky Way people. There's the Outcasts and there's the Nexus. And the Outcasts are people from the Nexus who just uprose against the Initiative, which is the company that did everything. So all that being said, I find the story very interesting because you show up and you're the only arc to show up, and there's supposed to be 3 other ones, and you have to solve all these problems. And I enjoy it.
Fun.
I don't know. I love sci-fi. So like the idea of populating a new galaxy, like having no resources at all except for what you brought with you, like having to just figure things out, is so cool. And I love exploration games too, and you're exploring in this. So I'm liking it. I'm loving it.
I want some more of it.
I'm a fan, so that's what I got. I mean, I'll have more to talk about as I progress. I've done a lot of side stuff already, so I'm like not super far into the story.
I watched 13 Reasons Why on Netflix.
Yeah.
Have you heard about that or seen it go around or anything?
I've not seen anything about it.
I guess it's a book that Netflix made a TV show. All the critics are saying that the TV show is better than the book. It's 13 episodes. It's about a girl that killed herself in high school. Suicide.
What? That's terrible.
And then it's actually kind of an interesting story.
Yeah.
She before she kills herself, the premise is that she makes 13 tapes, like cassette tapes, and this takes place in modern day. So the kids in high school was like, "What's a cassette tape? How do I get this to play?" Which is like, okay, I get it.
Go to Goodwill, you'll find something.
Yeah. So on each tape is a name of a person and their story and how they related to her suicide. So each episode is based around a different person, around a different action, and you kind of go through. There's 2 timelines, like. You see it from a guy's perspective who was on one of the tapes. Yeah. And how his perspective on how he behaved and how he listened to it, and he goes through each episode is him listening to a tape. But also each episode is the girl going through the tape. Yeah. Does that make sense? So like you see it from her perspective as it's happening, and then it cuts to his perspective as he's listening to it and how he reacts to what happened to her. Yeah. To all the other people. I watched all of it, and I was very interested. I enjoyed it a lot of the time. Towards the end, it's a TVMA rating, so it's not it's not very appropriate for all audiences. It's for mature audiences. Yeah. And I'm like, why is this for mature audiences? I don't get this till I got to like the last 3 episodes. And the last 3 episodes had a viewer advisory warning on before all 3 of them. Oh wow. And they're like, there are some strong scenes in here. If you're not comfortable, do not watch this. And first of all, I'm like, well, that sucks. If I watch 10 episodes of this,
and now I can't,
now I can't because I'm a young child, like that would suck.
Yep.
But literally, there were some scenes where I had to turn away, like I couldn't watch.
No. Violent?
No. It was. I don't want to give too much away.
Okay.
2 of the warnings were for a similar thing that happened. One of them was for, as we know, the girl commits suicide.
Yeah.
They showed her suicide on.
Oh, it'd be terrible.
I mean, it wasn't like real. It was like her acting.
Right.
But like that's the part I couldn't watch.
Yeah.
So like, the way she committed suicide,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, well, I couldn't watch it. I had to turn away.
Yeah.
And then there was a scene after that happens. There's a really emotional scene,
Mm-hmm.
and I almost started tearing up. I'm like, I was so invested. I'm like, this is crazy.
Yep.
This is playing with my emotions.
It's getting you.
I
Getting
like
you
it.
real good.
I like it when I got the emotionals.
Cool.
I started watching One Punch Man anime, which is super
One
fun.
Punch! I watched all that last week.
It's so good, isn't it?
I watched all in like a day.
It's so funny.
I know.
I have not watched
I love the premise of the show.
I started watching like the first 2 episodes, then I started watching 13 Reasons Why.
Yeah.
Now I'm trying to go back to it.
It's so funny.
It is very funny.
It gets ridiculous. More ridiculous than it is already.
Wow.
I think so.
I don't think I have anything else that I've done.
Yeah, I think that's it.
So, listeners,
What's that?
you have this episode.
Mm-hmm.
You have 2 episodes from last week,
You do.
plus the other numerous episodes we've had in the past.
70-something.
Go ahead and listen to all of those.
Yep.
Tell us what you think. Starting with this one. If you've listened this long, congratulations. You win.
You win the game.
You win the game. If you would like to tell us how much you won, and that you've made it this far, tweet at us at Underpaid Gamers Podcast.
Yep.
You can rate us, give us comments, stars, thumbs ups, whatever, on whatever device, whatever system you're listening to us on, whether it be iTunes, SoundCloud, YouTube. You can go to our website where this podcast will be posted as well. We have a Twitter feed.
Mm-hmm.
And every once in a while we have original written content.
That's true.
Justin is working his way through his Let's Play of Horizon.
That's true.
So if you want to see Horizon in all of its glory,
Yeah.
but you don't want to pay for it,
Mission by mission.
mission by mission,
You can check it out.
story missions,
Yeah.
go check out our YouTube channel at Underpaid Gamers.
Mm-hmm. And chuckle when I die, please. 'cause
Chuckle when he dies.
I need that humor.
We will probably be streaming. Now that I've moved in, I'll probably be streaming some Overwatch or something.
Yeah.
Eventually.
At some point, your internet's perfect for it.
My internet is incredible.
Yeah.
I'll probably buy Persona 5 because when you were talking about Mass Effect,
Mm-hmm.
it sounded cool.
All you wanted to do was play Persona.
But I just felt like I just experienced that with Horizon. Like,
Mhm.
a very open world, not a lot of direction.
Yeah.
And I think Persona 5 is more direction-based, maybe more linear.
Probably. I would assume so.
I'm not sure. I know it's a day system. So, like, each day, like, it's an actual calendar. So, like, Monday, May 15th,
Mhm.
you do things, and then you go to sleep. And then the next chapter is, like, Tuesday, May 16th. It goes like that. And
Yeah.
the final bosses are on, like, weekends or something like that.
Nice.
Or the bosses of each, whatever.
Cool.
So, yeah, I think that's everything.
Yeah.
Twitch, Underpaid Gamers, Google, Underpaid Gamers.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see you next week.
I think we covered it.
I think.
Thanks for listening, guys.
If you have any topics you want us to talk about, whether it be video games, movies, history,
I could talk about history.
what can I talk about? No, that's it. Smash? I can talk
There it
about
is.
Smash.
There it is.
I'm a Smash expert. There's a Smash. I'm trying to wrap this up. There's a Smash tournament, and I think grand finals are going on right now.
Yeah, he's itching to watch it. So, thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next week.
Okay, bye.